This program is presented in conjunction with the opening of prize prints, the Queen Sonja Print Award, an exhibition of contemporary Nordic prints by the recipients and founders of the Queen Sonja Print Award. That is an international prize established to encourage emerging artists working in the graphic arts. It features recent works by the 2012 and 2014 award winners, Tiina Kivinen of Finland and Svend-Allan Sørensen of Denmark, as well as a selection of works by the award's founders, Her Majesty Queen Sonja of Norway, Kjell Nupen, and Ørnulf Opdahl. This exhibition celebrates contemporary printmaking in the Nordic countries and is an exciting look at what's currently going on as well as what we might look forward to. This symposium is intended to offer an opportunity to learn more about the award and most especially more about the two very accomplished artists who are the past prize winners. Founded over a century ago here in New York, the American Scandinavian Foundation's mission is to develop greater understanding between the Nordic nations and the United States through cultural and educational exchange. This mission is realized through a variety of ongoing programs. Those include grants and fellowships, internships, publications, and the wide range of public programs presented here at Scandinavia House, which is visited by tens of thousands of people each year. More than 50 exhibitions have been presented at Scandinavia House since it opened nearly 15 years ago. Intended to offer unique insights into the visual arts and history of the Nordic countries, many of these exhibitions have focused on contemporary art and a number have featured the graphic arts and printmaking, including the recent Munch Warhol and the Multiple Image and North by New York. The exhibition we opened tonight is a unique one, looking at contemporary Nordic printmaking while also opening the way to a truly international approach in future years. This exhibition celebrates the Queen Sonja Print Award, which the project leader, Sune Nordgren, will describe in greater depth shortly. It's a particular honor and pleasure for us at the American Scandinavian Foundation to be associated with this award, for Queen Sonja has long been a great friend and inspiration to us. Exactly 10 years ago, in 2005, we presented here Norge, contemporary art from the collection of Queen Sonja, in celebration of the Norwegian centennial. A beautiful exhibition presenting a wide range of art of today that the Queen herself curated. In subsequent years, Her Majesty has spoken here in art symposia and at the opening of Luminous Modernism, the ASF Centennial Exhibition, as well as at the Munch Warhol Exhibition. Tonight, we will see a new step forward in Queen Sonja's advocacy of contemporary art. Before I turn the podium over to Mr. Nordgren, I would like to express my appreciation to the generous supporters of this exhibition, including the Bergesen Foundation of Norway, DNB Bank ASA, Trondes Jensen and Joan Jensen, the Bard and Barbara Bunjas. Additional support has been received from the Bonnier Family Fund for Contemporary Art, the F. Donald Kenny Fund for Visual Arts, and the Asbjørn Lunde Fund in memory of Carl and Alyssa Lunde. Funding for travel for Tiina Kivinen has been provided by Arts Promotion Center Finland, and transportation support has been provided by SAS Scandinavian Airlines. This evening's reception and symposium has been sponsored by the Royal Norwegian Consulate General in New York. I would also like to take a moment to thank the hardworking staff of the American Scandinavian Foundation, most especially Ariana Tiziani, a manager of exhibitions, and Kyle Reinhardt, who is the manager of public programs. Also, I would like to express our gratitude to the board and staff of the Queen Sonja Print Award, notably Mette Taverli, and most especially our next speaker, Sune Nordgren, curator of the exhibition and project leader of the Queen Sonja Print Award. And, of course, our deepest thanks go to Queen Sonja, who will be joining us for the opening ceremony in Volvo Hall at 6 p.m. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to Sune Nordgren, who has had a long and distinguished career as a museum director, curator, critic, editor, and author. From 1975 to 1990, he was the editor of Kaleidoscope Review for Contemporary Art. He has served as the director of the Malmö Kunsthall and was founding director of the International Artist Studios program in Sweden, as well as Baltic, the Center for Contemporary Art in Gateshead, England. And he has also served for several years as the director of the National Museum of Art, Architecture and Design in Oslo. It's a great pleasure and honor to welcome Sune Nordgren. Sune?
Thank you, Ed. This is an afternoon for artist talks. I think the artists should be talking, so I will be brief. The Queen Sonja Print Award was established in 2011, and it is to promote the contemporary graphic art. And we feel that this is perfectly in time, right in time, because graphic art is again something that young artists are interested in, and this prize will not only be a substantial prize in terms of money, it will also be probably the most prestigious prize for graphic art in the world. It started, the whole adventure started in 2011 when the three artists, Her Majesty Queen Sonja, Ørnulf Opdahl and Kjell Nupen, together made a portfolio of 24 prints, 8 prints each, called 3 Journeys, 3 Landscapes, and that was sold to get the first initial funding for the prize. It's sold very quickly, actually, and it's now a thing that if it's not in collections, then it will definitely be priced much, much higher than it was when it was sold the first time. The prize has been given twice, as Ed said, to Tiina Kivinen, a Finnish artist, and Svend-Allan Sørensen, the Danish artist, and these are the 2 artists that are in focus for our artist talks today. Now, after these 2 years, and also having this feeling of being right in time, we want to test our wings to be an international award. And of course, being invited to the Scandinavia House, this is a perfect platform for testing those new wings. The exhibition upstairs is also at the same with the same concept, focusing on the 2 prize winners, but also on the history of the award. But there's also an extension, because when the big award becomes an international award, the board have decided to also try to keep some focus on the Nordic countries. There will be another award, which is a grant, which is now established together with July, the workshop out in New Jersey, and that is it's called the Kjell Nupen Memorial Award. Kjell Nupen, unfortunately, died recently, and he was one of the funders. So this is a way of course, to celebrating his contribution to the whole thing. So the exhibition upstairs is historic background, but also focusing on the 2 artists. But we also, with the permission from Ed, we've actually also occupied some other parts of the building. So there will also be works by Her Majesty Queen Sonja and Magne Furholmen, who recently joined the board, in the stairs and in the restaurants. The award now becoming international, we have kind of tried to use the method of, or the format of the Hasselblad Prize, which is, as you know, the most prestigious prize for a photographer in the world. This is, of course, very ambitious to have them as a model, but it is a very, very good model, because they have nominators, people, expertise, people we are connected in the art world all over the world, and these people. So we have decided, of course, to contact art practitioners from museums, printmakers, artists, to nominate artists for this award. And then there will be an international jury. So this will happen during this year, and then there will be an international jury gathering in February next year to select the first prize winner of the international award, succeeding then Tiina and Svend-Allan. Today's artist talk will be led and guided by Karin Hellandsjø, one of the board members of the Queen Sonja Print Award, and also a quite well-known person in this house, I think. We've been the curator of several shows here. And Karin will now take over and tell you about the procedures for the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here, and you have much to look forward to. It's a wonderful exhibition, but we thought that it would be nice that you meet the artist in person before you see the show. You'll meet the artists when talking, and you'll also see films about their work. So the way we'll do it, it's like an art, or it is an artist talk, and we want it to be very informal. And of course, we want you to participate too, if you would like, as we go on. So we will show videos of both of the artists first. Then we will discuss their work, graphic in general, or print, as you say, the situation today and the challenges of the future. The Nordic situation versus the American situation is an interesting topic. And also the prize. So that means to have a print prize like this for the artist and for the society. And then we'll end up showing a film with about the prize and with the Queen before we go up to open the show. So together up on stage, after you have seen the two films, we will have the two artists, Tiina Kivinen and Svend-Allan Sørensen. And then we have the honor to have Anne Coffin of the New York International Print Center together with us, who will put the things into an American perspective, I hope. So it's very informal, and do join us when we later start the talking. But now we'll show first, I don't know which is the first film, but anyway, it's a film about Tiina Kivinen, about how she's working, and then a film with and about Svend-Allan Sørensen. So enjoy.
Jeg søgte i mange år efter et udtryk, der med en tilpas løshed og tyngde kunne indramme det, jeg længe har ønsket at fortælle. Den mulighed tror jeg, at jeg har fundet i grafikken, det vil sige, at jeg arbejder med papir, metal, sten og i dette tilfælde træ. Her arbejder jeg med en let omskrevet tekst af den amerikanske forfatter Henry David Thoreau. Jeg skriver spejlvendt, hvilket gør, at det ser ud som om, at jeg skriver baglæns, det vil sige backward. Jeg bruger gerne værktøj, som normalt er tiltænkt andre opgaver. Her bruger jeg en dremel. Den har en voldsomhed, som passer godt til krydsfiner. Det giver en usikkerhed i stregen, men det giver også et eksperiment. Jeg kan vældig godt lide det usikre eksperiment. Træpladen eller stokken, som den retligt kaldes, renses for træsplinter. Stokken bæres ind til Ole Larsens presse, som er verdens største. I baggrunden trykker man mine kobbertryk. Ole laver en fast ramme for stokken, så den ligger helt stille, når den trykkes. Pressen indstilles til et korrekt tryk. Og bagefter bliver der lavet et blindtryk, så vi er sikre på, at alt er indstillet rigtigt. Stokken bæres over til indsværtning. Sværten er en blanding af farverne Payne's Grey og kromoxidgrøn. Jeg trykker meget sjældent med ren sort sværte, men i en anden meget mørk tone, som har en anden rummelighed og mulighed og krop. Ole blander sværten ud fra mine fabuleringer. Heri blander han sværten i en oliefernis. Stokken valses op. Stokken bæres over i pressen, og trykpapir og filt lægges over. Og der trykkes. Vi trækker trykket baglæns ud af pressen og væk fra stokken. Vi går trykket efter. Og er tilfredse. Ole og jeg trykker 2 eksemplarer med denne meget nordiske tone, og et med en helt anden sværte, Solferino Violet hedder den. Man skal huske at satse og gøre det, man ikke selv forventer at gøre. Jeg synes i høj grad, at grafik for mig handler om at punktere min egen comfort zone, konstant. Og det gør denne Solferino Violet. Vi har nu trykt i alt 3 tryk af træsnittet og er færdige.
Is that okay? Yes. I guess what you didn't hear is the amount of the prize, which is we found about $50,000, which is quite big. And then in addition to that, the artists get a 1-week studio, or what do you call that? But they studio stay at this Atelier Larsen, where you saw on the film, which is in Helsingborg in Sweden. And Ole Larsen is also part of the board, and he's very active in all this. So this is very important that you see its price, and it's this 1-week studio stay. I think the two films tells very much about the two artists, the way they work and what they want with their work. But of course we want them to evolve on that. And it's maybe you should, when answering my questions, and then maybe you should maybe comment a bit on the films too, especially Tiina, if I start with you. Tiina uses, as you see, nature and movement of the body, which is very important in her art, often presented in a meditative, reduced form. Her comment on that would be interesting, and also about the film, because the film was very special. So what would you say?
Thank you. Often print works are like still life, and I'm interested in movement in two-dimensional images. Nature is backbone in my works, and I would like to add one more very important element to me. It's light. For me, there is no image without light. This can also seen in my video. I have done videos for over 10 years. Shooting videos is part of my work process. I trust my images. I don't want to use so much words, and in that respect, the video is useful. This video was called On Hunt for the White Light. In Norway, I was searching for the white light. That's why I was there in winter time when the colors are gone. And of course, like you know this, the nature was amazing. I have now a lot of new material for next exhibition.
Yes, Tiina was invited to go with Hurtigruten from Bergen up to Kirkenes, so that's part of the video. Then you, Svend-Allan, your video was taken at the Atelier Larsen. And if you talk about the content of, some of the content of your work, you mix literature and poetry very much in your work. Could you elaborate a bit about that? You use text also very relevant to America.
Yeah, I do. I think, I'm not sure, but I think that graphic art is very closely connected to book printing. And I think that's the first question. That the reason why I use so much text. I won't call it literature or poetry because it's not. It's text. That's why it's because it's very closely related to books. That was a very short question. Answer. Sorry.
You'll see it upstairs. The last big print that he made at the biggest press in the world. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, you'll see that in the exhibition. It's a good story. We talk.
I do also think that you have to change the image to see an image. An image is not just an image. There's also something behind the image, and that could be words, text. It's very difficult to make a thought on an image, but you can always put some words that are also closely connected to thoughts.
And we talked about tradition earlier today, and you said tradition was very important. I think it's important to both of you, but since you are talking now, what would you comment on that?
I think if you want to deal with tradition, you have to do something about it. And in an interview about 2 or 3 years ago, I said that if you want to change the traditional Danish Christmas sausage called medisterpølse, you have to add something new into it. you may not agree, but I do. But I believe in that if you want to maintain the tradition, you do have to do something new. And if you don't, it's stagnation. And you can't use stagnation for anything. Another example could be I think you probably also all know the story of Bob Dylan. Is Bob Dylan a rock musician? No, he's not. Is he a pop musician? No, he's not. He's a folk musician. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
And why is he a folk musician? He is a folk musician because he always changed the folk tradition, and that's why he can maintain the things he's doing. I think. Does it make sense? Well, I'm not American. I don't know Bob Dylan personally, but I think if he did not buy an electric guitar, he would not have been able to do what he has been doing. I think.
Maybe this is a little bit same, but we are talking about tradition, but for me, the technique is not most important. The image always leads. The image is the king. And I love to draw a living line, and that tells me what to do next. And if the image demands me to do something, then I use some techniques. I don't like that when we talk prints and graphic art, we always talk so much technique. We have to watch the image, the print themselves.
I think both the films illustrated that very well. What would you comment? Do you have any questions on these things, Anne, to the artist?
What I liked so much that you said was the idea that tradition, in order to stay alive, has to change. And of course, that is what's so remarkable about printmaking, is that it is always changing. And we had a jury meeting yesterday at the Print Center looking at 2,500 brand new prints from all over the country and the world. And what was so amazing was the techniques. There were many techniques we'd never heard of the last time we did this, which was only a couple of months ago, because artists are so inventive, trying to create the image that they want. I mean, it's like everything goes, and there are always variations on techniques and combinations of techniques to produce the image, drawing from new technology and combining it with classical techniques that you use. So I think it's a great comment on printmaking in general. Perhaps more so than any other art form, I don't know. I'm biased.
Still, I think the technique fascinates us. We have made a catalog for this exhibition, and when we did that, we discussed, should we try to explain all the techniques with words? I did try that, but then we also had to illustrate it with photos. But still, you have to try it out in order to kind of understand it. It's really, and of course, the technique with printing is important. It is important, and also involving or mixing techniques and involving new techniques, and so much is happening. So maybe, I mean, if you could comment on techniques, both of you, the technique you're using. You are using, Svend-Allan, you are using mostly woodcuts and lithography, mostly up to now.
Yeah, and linocuts.
Yeah, linocuts.
I think. No, I don't think. I know for sure that I'm not really interested in techniques as such. What I'm interested in is to tell you something about my background and about what I'm interested in. So I don't go to my studio to to make a woodcut, just to make a woodcut. And when I make a woodcut, I'm not only interested in using knives, and as you can see later on, I've been using guns for making woodcuts, because I don't see the difference between using a big knife, which I do, and using guns or pistols. It's about to make an impression. It's about to make an attack on the copper plate, not on the stone, because then you'll get some problems with the printers. But I do make some attacks on wood plates and copper plates with knives or guns or something. It's not that violent as it may sound, but you have to make some kind of attack to make a piece of graphic.
Techniques, but the familiar material for me is that if Svend-Allan used three woodcuts and three, I use copper plate and Drypoints and mezzotins, and I think the mezzotint is one of those techniques what people are so interested, because it's not so not so usual. It's in the same time it's very deep, soft, dramatic and mysterious. In a Drypoint I use when I have to do a living line or doing something fast, because the mezzotint is quite a slowly technique to do. It's like meditation or something. But like I said before, the image always leads, not techniques.
You're both working in rather traditional techniques in a way. At least in
Can we speak about untraditional techniques? Does that exist?
No, but I mean, no. To continue that, in like 15 years ago in Norway and Denmark, as we talked about, people said that printing is dead. It's not interesting anymore because there's so many new techniques coming in with data and all these things. So the academies started to sell out their printing presses and everything. Not in Finland. In Finland, they've been more consistent. But then the last 5-6 years, it's all turned around. Now they buy in printing presses again, and they go back to what I call then traditional techniques. And it's a real big interest in the Nordic countries for that, which was kind of the basis of this prize too, that the Queen wanted to, she saw that together with artists and said, well, we'll do something to make this happen more, you know. I don't know how that is in this country with the printing. Is it well, you say.
I would say it's been pretty consistent. There was a moment when some of the universities were cutting back on their printmaking programs, but recently that has reversed. I mean, we don't have exact data, but it has reversed. And what's happening now is there are just more and more little workshops all over the place. It's very scattered in this country, all across the country, with big publishers are more on the coasts, and then there are community presses and major university presses in the Midwest and the Southwest, and then there are lots of these little presses where it will just be a group of friends buying a press, little press, putting it in their garage, or community presses that are started by a group of people. It's not quite as easy to put one's finger on exactly because it's moving all the time, and there's always someone new out there that started a new press. But the big ones have been in place now, like ULAE and Gemini and Crown Point Press have been in place now since the late 50s, early 60s, doing major work and inviting in major artists. I don't think it's as clean a story here.
No. But with your organization, your institution, how is it? Is it very vivid? Is it lots of interest?
Yes, there's
Do you
tremendous
always- yes?
interest.
Could you tell something about?
I can. I mean, we were founded 15 years ago, basically to sort of fill a gap between the collecting public and the public interested in keeping up with printmaking and what was being produced. A lot of little galleries had left the city, and a lot of little presses had left the city, and it seemed there were a lot of people interested in prints that didn't know quite how to access new prints. Of course, we had wonderful museum collections and some of the major galleries, but there seemed to be a gap kind of at the entry level in particular, where young artists that were interested in making prints really didn't have a place to show them. So we founded an institution really to make these connections. And the central exhibitions program is this new prints program, which is, it's juried shows that we put together 3 times a year. And we get up to 4,000 submissions every single time. I mean, it's 3 to 5 prints can be submitted by each artist, but it's around 100 artists every time, 3 times a year. So there's tremendous demand in the artists community, and of course they make connections with each other, with museum departments, academic departments, with galleries, with curators that come and find work in our shows. And so it's been tremendously helpful to the artist community, and we also work very hard on bringing new people into collecting prints and teaching them about prints. So we have educational programs that bring more people in, but it's a tremendously alive part of the art world. I think that's what we see. We see more activity and more interest all the time.
What this prize has done to the two of you is to open the studio of Ole Larsen. You both work both at home and in various studios. Could you say something about the difference between working by yourself or whatever and in like a big studio of Ole Larsen?
Of course, always when you work with somebody else, it's a possibility to learn something more. That's why it's always a great opportunity. And in Atelier Larsen, there is many guys who helping to lift those big plates and so on. It's not impossible to do alone. So if I say that last time we made so big prints that the paper is 2 meters and almost 3 meters, you can't lift that kind of paper alone. There is 4 guys to lift paper, so you can't do it alone. You need help.
And what does that do to your art? What has that done to your art, being able to work bigger?
Sune told me today that I have come to be braver, and I think he's right. I always liked to do big sites, but now I have had the possibilities to do more bigger, and I'm a braver. I'm a braver artist now.
Wonderful. You too?
I don't know if I'm braver, but or smarter or something, but but I would say it's not unusual for me to work with printers. I've been working with others before Ole, but when I go to Ole Larsen and his workshop, then they are able to give me something that I can't give myself. When I go to my printer at the Faroe Islands, where I used to print, they can give me something else. And the nature up there, I don't know if you know the Faroe Islands, but it's it used to be a Danish county up north, between Denmark and Iceland, north of Ireland. The nature there, up there is able to put some stories in my work, and the collaboration with the printer also brings something new into my work that I can't bring myself. And I'm not that really interested in printing by myself. I find it boring. So something happens in those meetings, and it's always something different because Ole Larsen is not Jan Andersen from the Faroe Islands, of course. So those collaborations give me something unexpected.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that's also maybe something that makes print so special, that it is often a collaboration, you know, and it adds further dimension to the artwork. You both talk about, you say in your film, and you both talk about comfort zones, that this prize, or maybe other things, to bring you out of your comfort zones. What do you mean by that?
Actually, it comes back to me because I've been teaching for a lot of years, and I always said to my students that they had to get out of the comfort zone. If you can't say anything else, you can always tell people to come get out of that comfort zone. Instead of saying leave the room, just get out of the comfort zone. And someday you have to realize that you got to get out of your own comfort zone if you want to move on. And I would like to move on because I don't want to stagnate. Not officially. Yeah.
Every time when I do something new, I'm not in my comfort zone. So when you are out on your comfort zone, you learn something new. That was my point, sorry. And it's very important.
Yes, and I think that brings back to the prize too, that you both, or also you feel that the prize have kind of given you opportunities, bringing you out of into new zones, so to say. As you understand, we have two wonderful ambassadors for the prize. We have two wonderful prize winners. You will see that in the exhibition afterwards. And in a prize like this, what does it mean to you? Is it, I mean, what do you think? What does it mean to you personally, and what do you think it means generally to like the print world? This is a big question.
Quite big question, but personally, the award has given me more time to create, and I mean that creating is to collect magnificent moments, all those small things that we are too busy to notice, small rocks, funny socks, and something like that. And this award is important because it puts a spotlight on graphic arts and paper printing. The focus goes on the basic skills of the artist, the manual work, the physical sense through fingers. Yeah, I don't know.
I think.
Something like that.
Okay, I think I don't want to talk about what it means to me because you may probably know that the financial part of an artist's life is like, you know, like a roller coaster, and that's not very interesting to talk about. But I think that the prize as such will tell the world that graphic art is not the second choice to painting, which it has been for many years. Graphic arts is actually able to be independent. Yeah, I think that's much more important than all this talking about international blah 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 blah. It's much more important to say that graphic art is an independent form of art.
I think in Finland it has been many years that in Finland we have many artists and their main role is to print. Like me, I'm working only prints. No, okay, I also do those videos, but I'm a printmaker.
So it's very appropriate that this prize started out as a Scandinavian prize and now it's going to become international. It's appropriate that the origins of it are in a part of the world where the graphic arts have been recognized as equivalent as an art form all along. I hadn't thought about that.
But I think the reason why it's graphic art for so many years has been some secunda thing or some second choice for something else is because of the market prices and so on. Because if you can't afford a very big painting, you can always get a graphic piece of art, and that's actually a pity.
Well, the monetary value shouldn't have that much to do with it. The fact is that the graphic arts are accessible to everyone, and that's what we want to see, is art in everyone's lives, and have art accessible to everyone. And I think also the artist community in this country certainly has always valued the graphic arts
exactly.
tremendously. It just it hasn't somehow reached the general public, and that's what we're all trying to do, is increase the understanding and appreciation of the graphic arts for everyone.
Maybe we could remember what Reinhardt once said, that art is art and everything else is everything else. To me, it's not that important that I do graphics. It's what I do, and I like it a lot, and haven't been doing much more than that for the last 10 or 12 years. No, that's not true, because I've also been working with a taxidermist who, who has been making some animals for me that do not appear like animals. But besides from that, I've only been doing graphics. But it doesn't matter that much to me. What matters is that I can tell what I'm interested in, I can tell something about my background, and I can make this attack to the plates, which I'm not able to do in any way if I should paint.
Why, not to change the subject from attacking the plate, but why the American and English content in your work? What is your fascination with?
That's very simple, and that's because, first of all, I listen to a lot of country music, and the internet, not to forget, is very English. I don't speak any Chinese or Spanish, so I'm not able to check Google in Spanish or Chinese, but the internet is very English.
But Thoreau is not on the internet these days.
No, you can always find. No, he's not, but you can find a PDF with his books.
True.
And I've been thinking about what it would mean to bring some works in Danish to this place, and I'm not sure it would be interesting. I don't know. I am very inspired by country music and American hunting and and so on. So I think to me it makes sense to show that side of my work. I may be wrong.
Do you do the equivalent work in Danish?
If I do works in Danish, yeah.
Do you?
I do.
So we're seeing just a piece of the picture here.
You do.
In the gallery.
But you haven't seen it yet. You'll see it.
You have a treat in store.
But he is very taken. Yeah, you are taken with nature, and Thoreau is nature, so it's also. I wonder if we should open to the floor for questions. If you have questions to presumably to the artist, or comments, or on things we have. I mean, it'll be very different when you've seen the show, but still. Anybody want to?
I have a question for Svend-Allan. You said that when you would add text, it would change the meaning of your picture. But what about when you only have text? Then the text is the.
The text is the image. I remember I had a teacher in Danish in school many years ago, and he and one of the very few things I remember from my school time was that he said that if a piece of text is so strong that you can see the image, it's a very fine text. And I try to have that in mind when I work. I'm not sure if I succeed, but it's important for me to have in mind.
What do you think of first, like the image or the words themselves?
The words. The song comes before the music. Was that an answer?
Yeah. I just have one more question. I guess you would probably both say it's technical, but how do you decide, like, I'm going to do 3 prints or 100 prints or 50? Like, where does that come from?
like 20. Well, it comes from technique too.
It's a difficult decision. Sometimes it just feel it's a unique. I do only one piece, and then sometimes I think there is something. Maybe I do about 20 is normal edition for me, and then it means that there is 10 pieces in Finland and 10 pieces is in the other countries. So,
but sometimes it's technical too, isn't it? That you can do
yes,
so and so many.
My techniques are also so sensitive that I can't do a lot of very much bigger editions because it's throws away.
I would say that to me it's not interesting to make a lot of numbers of the works. I prefer to make a lot in a small edition. Usually I make 8, but I go from 5 to 10. And the fact is that I don't sell more than 10, I think. But when it comes to all, I prefer to do a lot to test and see and find out what happens when I do like this or like that, and so on. It doesn't make any sense to me to make 150.
Then you have to use a printer.
Why would you want to make 100? I don't see any reason. Why would you want to make 100 if you could?
He doesn't want to.
I don't see why a printmaker or anyone who makes edition would want to make 100 of anything.
Then it's not an edition any longer.
No, I agree.
It's just a big amount of copies.
I was wondering whether you, when you look at the photography market in terms of editions, when the photographers started to do very large scale, which is what you're doing, then the edition becomes small. Because that makes it, you have 1, maybe 3 prints. That is what makes it rare and therefore more, in the market term, more valuable also.
But that's the market that thinks rare. I do not think rare when I do.
No, I understand that, but we're still talking about, the multiple, the print being, it should be accessible. That was the idea when printmaking was first. Many people could have, like Warhol did. Or even Rauschenberg, the idea was that people could buy prints, anybody could buy prints. But they still have a limit on the edition. So I was thinking also of, in terms of, you were both talking about scale, that when you, for instance, go to the big, you had 4 guys could help you with to carry the material, and by making it larger, you felt braver. So was that because you then could, use your body more, or be more open, or in your case, you're talking about the attacking thing, that would not be very interesting for you to attack something smaller. So that is, to what extent does the scale determine the involvement with the work? Because you said you couldn't get that through painting. I don't think that's true, because I think many painters, we know that from the abstract expressionists, they were completely physical.
Oh yeah, but that's because it made sense for Jackson Pollock or Asger Jorn or whoever, but it did not make sense to me. No, I can't speak about. I can only speak from my own point of view, and that's my truth. It may not be the truth, but it's my truth.
What do you say to that? The size? What is that? Does it give you new opportunities when you have bigger sizes? Or?
Yes, a little bit, because like you say, I can use my whole body, and I have a dance background, and when I find these larger sites, it more, yeah, it's, sorry, this is a little bit difficult now to explain for me, but maybe you understood what I said.
It gives you new opportunities to do other things.
Yes, because I have this dancer background, I was used to use my body, and then was possibility to do a little bit bigger, so I can use my whole.
I think that was very clear on the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk in the snow and the way you
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. I think you have another question there.
I don't want to interrupt, but how much time do we have?
It's 5 past.
4 more minutes? Yeah, fine. 1 more minute, Belle.
I would like to follow up what you said. It's absolutely true that at least in Europe, printmaking has always been considered second-rate art. I don't know why. So Queen Sonja must be commended for this beautiful initiative. As a result of that, are there now in Scandinavia or in Norway more galleries offering prints for sale? Is the market now bigger?
I don't know. I think Norway is not Denmark. I think you got another tradition than we do. But I can say that I don't very often exhibit in graphic societies or something like that. I try to be on the contemporary scene because that's what I'm interested in. I know this is a graphic show, and it's a nice graphic show, and I'm very honored to be a part of it. But to me, it's important to get out of the role of the graphic artist because I'm not interested in it. But I think something has happened for the last 10 years, and I can tell you that my gallery in Copenhagen is just got into the art fair called Market in Stockholm that actually opens today, and I think that is a bit unusual to have a graphic artist on those big art fairs, and we just got in a few days ago at the art fair in Basel, in Switzerland, and I'm very happy because of that. I would not like that be interested in graphic art fairs. I prefer to go in to go in and interact between other artists on the contemporary scene.
If I should comment too, I think this prize is rather new, so I couldn't say that it has changed many things, but things are changing. And like in Norway, it's been lots of focus on Munch lately with various anniversaries and things, and also Munch, who was a very important graphic artist. So in connection with that, people are also looking more towards graphics. So it's up and coming. So, and I'm sure that this prize is going to do more with that, and also hopefully internationally, because it deserves it.
Yeah, and that's why the prize is so important.
Yeah.
Because it gives the media some self-esteem. Not only Tiina and I get self-esteem, but also the media. It shows that we are actually able to produce graphic works, even though I can only speak for myself, even though I do not see myself as a graphic artist. I see myself as a contemporary artist or just artist. It doesn't matter if I'm contemporary or not, but I see myself as an artist, and therefore it's quite important that to get such a prize.
I think, yes, we have to stop, but then I have to thank all of you, and you have much to look forward to with the opening with the Queen and things, and to see the exhibition. So I'll just thank you for participating, and then you want to say a couple of words, and then before, don't leave, because we are going to show a film about the art prize. I mean, we are proud of this, so we are going to show the film. Okay.
tar bare én og prøver, da. Det er mange hull.
Men skal jeg ligge på vaieren eller hvordan?
Jeg var her i 2006, i april, på en privat skutertur. Og opplevde jo Svalbard på en utrolig flott måte i både dårlig vær og i godt vær. Vi skulle ned et lite hull, og det var ikke alle i selskapet som en gang ville det. Men vi kom nå ned, den lille gruppen, og gikk i en mørk isgang med hjelm og hodelykt og fotografiapparat som jeg hadde. Og da begynner jeg å ta noen bilder, og plutselig så ser jeg i kamera at det er mønster i isen. Og da blir jeg jo veldig ivrig, så jeg tar jo veldig mange bilder. Og dette har da sittet fast at dette kunne man kanskje gjøre noe med i fremtid. par dager så sitter vi og prater sammen, Kjell og Ørnulf og jeg, og så sier de guttene at egentlig så synes jeg at dette her ble såpass bra, det du lagde, at det synd at det bare skal gå i en skuff, at ingen skal få se det. Så det hvordan i all verdens rike skal vi få til det? Da slo det meg at jeg alltid har hatt et ønske om å gi en pris innen kunstens verden. Og da fant vi ut at vi skulle lage en mappe. Denne solgte vi, 8 arbeidere av hver, til en pris. Disse solgte vi så mange av at det ble grunnlaget for denne prisen. Det en forunderlig og morsom og spennende verden, så for meg å få lov til på slutten av et liv å fordype seg i dette, betyr veldig, veldig mye.